So, joining today at Atfa Tech Venture podcast, myself Sonal Shah from Atfa Tech Venture, and today we have an extraordinary guest who wears many hats in the tech and startup landscapes, Mr. Moeid Saleem Khan. And he is fondly known as Mo, he is the founder of Atrix Dev and Dubai marketing agency. He's an experienced and very seasoned CTO and a dedicated startup mentor with over 12 years of experience in this tech industry. So, Moed is a master in enterprise software development and management. He is specialized in technology such as Node, Angular, React, Electron, Kubernetes, Terraform, Ansible, and many more. So, his expertise extends to blockchain and cryptocurrency training platform development too. So, with a passion for helping the founders build and marketing next generation startup, today Moed is providing us invaluable insights into this scaling distributed system globally. So, let's join for enlightening conversations with Moed Saleem Khan, and he is going to share some more insights into the common startup challenges, building the tech startup, and IT jobs in the Middle East. So before we start the podcast, I just wanted to, welcome him with the very thankful note to be, present on this Adfa Tech podcast. And just briefing about the Adfa Tech, we are a IT tech platform with focusing more on IT solutions, IT resources, recruitment, and tech audio podcasts. We have a vendor alliances with more than 50 tech plus partners, which includes SAP, Oracle, Microsoft, Pega, OutSystems, Appian, Salesforce, Cloudera, Informatica, and many more. And we have resources basis of more than 20,000 plus across all skills, which we can deliver both on-site and off-site. And adding more onto that, that is a 24-hour solutions. So we provide key solutions including ERP, application development, data, AI and ML, blockchain, cloud management, UX, UI, and testing and cybersecurity. So at ATFAR, we just love to hear Mr. Moed's view on visionary tech leaders. And as we are highly impressed with his LinkedIn bio and experience, we are very grateful to have him on his today's discussions. And before we dive, I'm just giving, the call to Mr. Moed to give his introduction in his words. So, Mr. Moeid, welcoming you in our podcast, and please give some brief introduction about yourself, what you are doing, what as an industry leader you are doing. So, please give us our audience a brief about yourself.
Sure, Sonal. Thank you so much for having me on this show.
Yeah.
And I really impressed by the format that you guys have set up here for tech entrepreneurs, founders, and I would say the experts to come on your show and share their advice. So, like you already have given a brief intro about me. So, basically, I'm a full stack enterprise software developer turned into CTO director of two companies right now, Atrix or Dev and Dubai Marketing Agency. So basically what I do is I help founders develop their software, audit their current IT infrastructure, and scale their companies to multiple regions. So being part of MES Foundation, that is Mohammed bin Salman Foundation in Saudi Arabia, I help many founders that are new to the space and are having difficulties in developing their startup product to scale that up, develop it, because there are lots of challenges that the founders are currently facing. So yeah, that's a brief intro.
That's a good to know. So, you have a very versatile profile and managing, so many different tasks. So, in your experience, what are the most common, challenges you are finding nowadays? The majority of the startups are having that kind of a particular issues, or what kind of a, tailor-made solutions you provide them?
Sure. So basically right now I would say, like, for many startup founders, the greatest challenge is the tech part. And the reason is because there are lots of options right now in the market, and because of this saturation, the quality has gone down and people are not trusting agencies as compared to like they want to get they want to do something in-house, but they don't know how to manage it and how to scale that up. So what I would say, like the freelancer market and the agency market has been a little bit skeptical since there are lots of options and the market has been down. Right now, what we are offering is like we came because I did a lot of work with many founders, and I saw that they don't want to hire somebody from another company. They don't want to work with agencies. They want somebody in house, but they don't know how to trust that guy and manage it. So we came up with a solution that is more like an hybrid work, like an hybrid option where we help them build their IT infrastructure for them. Like as a partner, we basically help founders develop their to get them the CTO, to get the developers in place, but all for them, not just something under. So as a partner, we just make sure that everything goes smooth. There is a proper agile plan to be followed, and the team is basically performing. So it's like we help them l- for at least 3 to 6 months. We work with their tech department as a remote manager, and once our contract is over, the department already is sufficient enough to basically scale itself. So that's how I am helping many founders to build their own IT infrastructure rather than going for agencies and freelancers. Though I would always recommend, like there are many good agencies like yourself and that are helping many companies. Like,
Definitely. Yeah. But
sure, sure, yes, Sunal.
so just adding on these, like as you say, you people are working for 6 to 8 months with them, just from starting up the business to giving the ideas and then incorporating into their own system, and then you hand over the business, right? So after that, you people manage remotely or they manage by their own.
So for me, like I would always prefer to hire people remotely, but the thing is, at the end of the day, the team that we are building in, they're coming under their company payroll, not ours. So it's like we we basically act as a partner with them. That's all.
Okay, so in that way, you can be, multiple partners in multiple companies. So that is a great opportunity to, have a versatile customer base as well as a versatile, profile building also. So adding on these, how you scale their operations in their, regions, or how you incorporate your skills to them, any kind of a specific technology you people are working or your team is working. So which type of IT projects currently you people are doing?
So my background is basically fintech. I developed a leading application in Dubai. That's from Ashik Bank. Basically, it's an award-winning new banking application. But the clients that I have are basically, I would say, from medtech, fintech, proptech. Like there are different aspects. But what I see is like for all of them, and there is a common operation, the common platform that needs to be developed for them. Obviously there is always something that's what we call it like a highly experienced resource, which is, for example, machine learning, AI, blockchain. These resources normally always because normally the startup don't have this much budget to accommodate that. So what we do is like we connect them with the right people, and utilizing our network for them. For example, if you're in payment and you want to get an insight or somebody who is already working for a leading company in MENA region. So we, for example, Mamo Pay, right? So we connect you with some of their tech leads or some people that are open to basically work with them on hourly basis or something that we basically make sure. So these resources are just temporary to make sure because these type of work requires a specific task.
Right, right. So, like, as I'd read in your profile too, like, you are helping the people who has, no or zero experience, right, in the startups. So, how do you help them, or how do you advise them to, have their own startup or lead their own tech startup? So, how you are helping them? I'm just curious about, like, if I consider myself also, then I would be glad to, create my own startup. But I am, in a startup way, I am a zero. So what are the, experience you want to share, to help the people to successfully build and launch the tech startup?
Sure, Sonal. Sonal, so 90 more than 90% of the startups fail. That's a number that we all agree upon. Reason being, like most of them not even see the light. Like uh, so many good projects, so many good ideas I have seen just because of mismanagement, less knowledge, and have working with the wrong people have led to, I would say, the motivation and the enthusiasm that the founders had at the beginning. It all went down after some time. So what I do is like I make sure that everything is basically in terms of starting out. Like first of all is the idea validation. I would validate his idea. Like what if you have an idea, for example, Swalal, and you want to build it. Now, first thing is the idea validation. The second thing is like to get a MVP, get a small MVP for your project, and we basically allow you to build that yourself. Like for example, using no code technology, because we don't want to work with very early stage startups. We always prefer to work with like somebody who has gone have gotten a little bit of funding. The reason for that is that we could be able to help him in a better way. But for example, you have got your idea validated with us, and also like you have a small MVP, and then to build the whole platform and to scale it. First of all, this is what I have learned in my career, that as a tech professional, it is very important if you want to start your own business to learn this skill. And that skill is sales, sales, sales.
There is every business's need is a sales. Yeah, yeah, correct.
I would tell you my story. Like I've started many startups before at early stage of my career, and I always failed. The reason was because even though we built very complex applications, the thing was we didn't even know how to sell it, and that's where we always lacked. So this is the skill that I have basically for since like past 2 3 years. This has been my primary focus to develop the skill to sell things, because when you know to do that, you can actually sell anything and you can basically make your business profitable. And if you don't do that, like even if you have a good idea and you don't know how to sell it, that's just like firing in the air. So that's one thing. How I help them is like I said, from your ideation phase to getting your platform ready. So we do three things for you. So now like we do develop, audit, and scale. And now we just added design. That's through Dubai Marketing Agency. That's a new addition to our services. So develop, audit, scale is very simple. Develop means to build your IT infrastructure for you. Audit means if you already have a team and it is not performing well, and you want to align your own current startup, that's where the audit services comes in. And the scale services is basically, for example, you have a business that is running in India. Now you want to go to Middle East, or you want to open something in Europe, but you are basically locked by the I would say like the founder lock, that you don't have the time, you don't have the budget. That's where we come in as for scale. We make sure to get you not just the tech part, but also the business part of it to scale your business, where we would see like there's a better opportunity. And just one last thing, that is design. um, I recently launched a new company that's called the Dubai Marketing Agency with my founders, like people who have worked in Hollywood and have good experience in for Disney, Pixar, and in terms of creating good marketing campaigns and video work of the premium quality. Because selling part requires to have something like a marketing agency in my hand. That's where make sure that my customers, my startups that are working with me always win. I have to also make sure that they know how to sell it. If they don't know, like we are going to help them do that.
That's a great. So you are providing a 0 to 100 each and every solutions a business require, right? So that's a very amazing portfolio you are, creating for yourself, and by that way you are helping the customers in each and every manner. So it's an amazing portfolio.
Yeah. So for us, like, sorry, just one last thing. See, The my objective, my goal always have been to make sure my customers succeed, because when they win, we have a success story, and that's how our business grows. So for us, we have to make sure that we make them succeed. It's not like an option that we have to. So that's the main reason, and that's why we started this another venture.
Good. Very, very good. So we are also super impressed with your profiles and the work you are doing. It's very good, very so. So just adding on these line only. So how do you guide the startup? Like this is the way you are approaching, right? But now when if we think in terms of the customer way of thinking, so how do you guide startup in aligning their technological choices with their business goals? So how do you upgrade um, as a the IT sectors, or how do you help the customers in their IT infrastructure? Like you also have to be refreshed with the current technological and trends. So how you help the customers in their growth? So most needed or most basic upgrades as a minimum, as a maximum, they must have. Is there anything such a kind of a things?
Sure. So there is an approach we follow that's called fractional CTO. I'm just going to talk about the tech part. So fractional CTO is somebody, for example, startups can't afford a CTO. That's going to cost you around 40, 50,000 dirhams per month. So many startups can't do that. And how we help them is to get a fractional CTO that's going to be creating the overview plan for the next 3 months, setting up the architecture, infrastructure, and giving the whole company a vision, the tech direction. That's it done through fractional CTO. So once that is done, then we have an implementation plan. So we basically have created something. For example, when you want to build a platform, you get user interface ready, right, through Figma or some tool where you have this UI. So that's like a design. That's like a design document that you have. But what about the architecture document? Is it going to be monolith? Is it going to be a microservice architecture? How do you think plan to scale it up? So these things, normally you are very aware of the term tech debt that normally many companies faces after a time. So to avoid that, we make sure that you're using the latest technology and your system is flexible enough to adapt to the new changes that are going to come in the future. So to do that, we must have a proper architecture in place. So from the very start, we help you develop that architecture. So you have the design document, you have your system architecture, and that helps us to have at least uh, like you have a plan. So that's how we help you to scale things up. Fractional CTO comes into place, and then we get them the resources from our net that we have.
Okay. Before that, I was knowing about the CTOs and fractional CTOs. I have seen in so many profile, but actual meaning, like as you explained me that way, it's a wonderful way, right? So that way, you can minimize the budget also, and you can improve your knowledge and the basic requirements of the organization. That's a good. So, like as you said, there are some kind of a constraints in each and every startups. So, is there any specific areas such as like security, cloud integrations, or in data analytics where most of the startups seek upgrades? So, in your perspective, which are that kind of areas?
Sure. So when I said fractional CTO, it doesn't mean a CTO in general. So for example, you're building something for, I would say, like fintech, right? So you need somebody who knows how the whole fintech system works. So someone who has already worked with it. So it's not like getting any CTO to work for you. CTO is like, this is a term that's like overrated, I would say, but everybody put that tag on their profile, but not like that. It's like someone who also has the technical knowledge and of the working business as well. It's not just one aspect. He's a master of all the aspects. So that's how a CTO comes in. But right now, people just, anyways, moving to the question, to the answer that the fractional CTO comes from the same industry that your startup is. That means like if you are from fintech, you are from medtech. So if it's a medical startup, it's not like we can put a fintech person in charge of it to plan it out, because his knowledge might be different. And I would say, like when you said cloud infrastructure and everything, yes, there are things that are common in all these things. But when we say about the business domain in setting up, the challenges that a normal startup faces in terms of technology as well. For example, if you're building an exchange, right, you need somebody who has worked with, I would say, like high performance, with high performance servers, someone who knows how to basically use Apache Kafka, any big message broker to properly set micros. To basically, there we need performance because there's a lot of data that needs to be processed in. But then there are other startups, like for example, a Kareem application, something similar to carpooling. um, so in this scenario, like you have to understand that this is the real. There are different domain. These are like different domains. So to get right person is actually the key here. To It's not just from the general person. It should be from the same industry.
Right, right, right. So I think my question is just missed out in between the discussions. But my question is like, is there any specific areas where most of the startup seeks upgrades in terms of security, cloud integrations, or in data analysis? So is there any other areas where most of the startup needs help?
Yes, exactly. So once a startup is in operation and has crossed the, I would say, the seed round and is about to get the first, is about to reach the first round of investment. So that's where normally startup would seek to get cloud infrastructure services and more security, because right now they have good customers and they need to basically scale things up. So that's where I would even say, like, it's not always to have, it's good to have everything in house. So it should be, in house should always be more like like assembling unit of your company. The parts should always come from different areas, just like how iPhone is assembled. So normally the parts are coming from all over the world, and at the end of the day, it is assembled in one country. So that's how iPhone works. So that's the approach that I would say, even for IT infrastructure, that we need to follow. Like start with small and then grow. But even before that, having a good infrastructure, like for example, are you going to use Kubernetes or you're going to use serverless approach? Because right now you want to deploy an application, right? So you have two options: either you go serverless, either you go containerization, right? So for both of these options, you need to understand the pros and cons as well, and what is going to be the, I would say, the toll in the future. So yes, in this scenario, if we make this decision at the start, it helps us to avoid lots of other issues that are going to come in the future for any startup.
Yeah. So, like, as you are, helping the people in a startup and all, so which are the most needed skill and expertise in the tech field currently, in a growing tech scene of this Dubai, and individuals who are, thinking to start a startup in the Dubai tech industry. So, is there any strategies or recommendations would you like to suggest to, enhance the chances of their growth?
Sure. So starting with the, for example, if you want to choose a career path and the skill that are in demand right now, I would say, like the AI skills. Anything with AI right now works, because always move with the, yeah, you have to move with the wind. It's not something that I have to choose. So I'll tell you my story, a small, just I will make it short. So I started with Angular back in 2013. Yeah, I was working with Angular, and Angular 2 came in 2016, 15, and then the technology shifted to React. And lots of my friends at that time didn't adapt React, and after 1 or 2 years, Angular was down to 20 to 30%. 80% was React. So uh, you have to move with the wind. It's not your choice. If the market demands this skill, learn it. It's 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 not, if you want to stay in this game, in the tech career game, it's always about moving in the right direction. For example, Nokia, it was the biggest giant, and it didn't graduate, and we all know what happened to Nokia. So it's like we need to learn from them, and this is how you build your career. And the second question that you asked, like for if you're starting a business in Dubai, so for start business, I would say like even before registering a company or going for that, because that's gonna cost you a lot. So for that, make sure that you have an MVP, you have a complete plan, and everything that you need to go for a pre-launch. Start targeting 100 customers at least. If you're building a digital product, any digital platform, 100 to do A/B testing, and then once you see that your project has a scope, I'll give you an example from Y Combinator. So Y Combinator had this theory to basically get your project into market within a month. And yeah, it's like you have to do it in a week. You have to build the plan in a week, get the design ready. MVP in it should be not more than 4 weeks of your effort. And after 6 months, if you see that your startup is not making you money or is there like there is no good traction, leave it. Start go for the next. That's what my community teaches to its students. So that's yeah. So just to always have your mind should be open. It should not be, you don't have to put emotions into it. Sometimes that's my when you put emotions, you are like, okay, I just wanna move with this project. This is my life. Okay, this is your life, but you have to,
And I think so. The practical, most practical approach.
yeah. So many companies that started with something else ended up doing something else. So it's not like you're gonna do this. This is how things work. You just have to be flexible and you have to be open to new changes.
Very, very preferable and very, like the right answer you had given. So, what is the, this is the right time to start a business in the Dubai, or is there any specific opportunity that, people should dive into tech region, Dubai, such as Dubai? So, what do you say?
Okay. So right now, we all know that Middle East is growing and it is growing fast. And the scope of the investment that is coming in, specifically, I would say in Dubai, is humongous. Like every day, for example, just to talk about the construction sector, the service sector, everything is booming. And if we see that right now there's a crash coming in, that's the biggest market crash since 2008 crash. This is going to be a huge crash in the market. Like many stocks, many companies are gonna fall because that is called the dollar index, the fall of the dollar. So the fall of dollar is very near because there is a bubble and that is going to burst. And even for tech, there is a bubble that's gonna burst. So you have to, for Middle East, I would say in Dubai, like it's still very safe to start your business in Dubai, whether it's a physical type of business or it's a digital business that you want to build in. It's a very good place right now. As for because if you see around like the investment that because of the Ukraine war and the Russian war, many Russian investors have basically invested heavily in Dubai. And I would say when I say heavily, like they have just taken over the market, for example, the real estate market, and that's a good opportunity for many of us living in it's a good opportunity to catch all of this because investment is coming in Dubai. You just have to have the right idea. You have to be at the right place and the right time. So that's these two things are very important to get into this market, and it's definitely going to be. I'm not saying that it's not challenging because Dubai has access to many people have access to Dubai, so it's not like you are going to be the only one who's going to be there. There's going to be a competition, but you have if you are smart enough and you know how to make your way around, then definitely you're gonna win.
Yes. So that is so much, the most needed advices you have given. So here I end up with my question and answers. So we just need one more favor. to my audiences through this podcast. So, any specific one suggestions or advice would you like to give to our audience about startups and building this managing teams as you are, helping the team with the tech profiles also, as well as managing startup through hybrid way, remote way, as you had said. So, any particular advice or suggestions would you like to give before we
Sure.
wrap up this podcast?
Definitely, Sonal. So first thing is learn how to sell. First of all, that's the first thing. Even if you're a tech person or anyone who want to start a business, just learn this skill. Alex Hermosi, How Successful People Think from John Maxwell. Read these books before you even start going into this space. Second advice: success loves speed. When you're building something, you have to go very the momentum that you have at the start of the idea. It has to be it's not gonna last. So if you really want to do something, you must have a GTM, go to market strategy. Like 4 weeks, you have to go to market. That's all. Even with a small functionality, push it out. Okay, don't wait for it to be very perfect. It's never gonna happen. And at the end of the day, you will lose your interest, and the moment you have to go fast if you want to succeed.
Very, very impressive advice you have given. So, massive thanks and so much of grateful to have you, Moed, and for gracing us with your expertise and passion for empowering startups. So, from myself, Sonal Shah, as well as from Adfartech, we are very grateful to have you. And we are much, much enlightened with your suggestions, your startup related advices, and the pulse of wisdom that you have shared with us, which can help the seasoned entrepreneurs as well as those who are just starting their journey. So, thank you so much, Mohit, for joining today this podcast. And to all my audiences, just to follow him to have lots of other good advices with his wisdoms and visionary ideas to shape your startup, to shape your future, and to shape your journey. And don't forget to subscribe at Far Tech Venture Podcast for more enriching conversations with our tech leaders, innovators, and visionaries to shape their futures. So
Sure.
I'm just signing off with thank you note to Mr. Moeid Saleem Khan. Thank you so much for being with us. And please be in touch and be in, keep in mind that we are here to help you with any of the resources or help you required, right? So still time, stay inspired and keep innovating.
Thank you so much, Donald. Thank you, guys. Have a nice day. Take care.
Thank you.